viewers. We are back again, MMMW Couples Hour. This is a show to showcase working marriages. We bring different couples to share their unique story, love story. And today, by the grace of God, we've brought a wonderful couple to come and share their love story, Mr. and Mrs. Anyanjo. They are here to share their love story, to share their challenges, what they've gone through. They've fought many battles together that they've won, and they are happy to share their unique love story. Welcome with me, Mr. and Mrs. Longinus Anyanjo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, Mrs. Veronica Anyanjo, happy to see you. Thank you very much for coming on our show. We know people, the viewers out there, they can't wait to listen to your story. But by the end of this couples hour, everyone will really be blessed because you've got experience. 28 years in marriage is not a
Going
joke.
to 29.
Going to 29, fantastic.
Yes.
We celebrate you, and it shall be stronger and better day by day in
Amen.
Jesus' name. Yeah.
Amen.
So
Amen.
going into today's interview, or let's say because it's interactive, we want to know more about you. So I'm going to start with Mrs. Veronica Anyanjo. Could you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Thank you. I'm Mrs. Veronica Anyanjo. Background, I'm a nurse, a registered nurse, studied nursing in Nigeria, worked for 16 years in Nigeria, and then decided to come over to England. And I came to England in 2004 and has been and still practicing my nursing career here in England.
So passionate.
Married.
I say you're so passionate about your job. Yeah.
Yo, I love my job. I love my job. I've done it for 36 years. So I must love it to have done it for that long.
Yeah.
And I'm married to Mr. Longinus Anyanjo, as you can see him, the love of my life.
I can see
the love of my life. And by the grace of God, we are blessed with 5 wonderful men.
Wow.
As you could see them, you can spare them from the picture there.
Look at them. 5 boys.
5 soldiers of the Lord by his grace.
I call them, forgive me, they are no more boys, they are men.
Well, yes, 5 men of God.
Wow, that's awesome. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank God.
Mr. Longinus, could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Longinus Anyanjo. I'm a Nigerian and Igbo man by birth. I studied banking in Nigeria, worked with the First Bank for 20 years. And my wife decided we should come to UK. Meanwhile, I'm a fellow of Chartered Bankers of Nigeria. Moved to UK in 2006. After my wife, I've been here for 2 years. And I joined her, and presently I work with Arm Financial as a financial advisor. I think that should be okay. And I'm married to this double woman with 5 men, like we said.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's what we are now.
That's really great.
Mm.
Pleased to meet you, and the viewers are happy to meet this wonderful family. We have so much to hear from you today. You met your wife at a wedding. I'm really curious. I want you to tell us what happened that day, because at every wedding ceremony, you see the bride, the groom, the chief bridesmaid, and the what do you call them now? The chief bridesmaid,
the bridal train,
and the bridal train, and the best man. And most of the time, the bride will throw the flower, and they say whoever picks it gets married next. So tell us in your own case, you got married, you got connected at a wedding, you met at a wedding. Tell us more about that.
That's for me then. Yes, I think she met me.
Okay, she met
me at the wedding. I will say, I will explain that. I'm sure she understand what I'm saying. She met me at the wedding because I was the best man to my friend, my very long time bosom friend, and then she was the bridesmaid to the chief bridesmaid to the wife, and then I would say I am not a born again Christian. I was a playboy then. I had my girlfriend, and then looking at another girlfriend then, and then I just came there for the purpose of the wedding, and after that I went home. Uh, I would say I didn't even notice her that day, and then she came to my house after the wedding. I think a day after the wedding, and said, "How can I help you?" She smiled, this wonderful smile that stayed there. And so, that made me brought my mind back, and I remembered her. I said, "Oh, sorry." She came in and we sat down and we chatted. Uh, there's something with me. I've always been sincere with everybody. And I told her, "Look, you are a very beautiful woman, but I have a girlfriend. I'm not looking for a girlfriend now. If I need anything to do with you, it's when I'm getting married, but I'm not getting ready for marriage now."
Wow.
Smile. And we spent some time together, and she left. After that moment, I forgot all about her. About 3 to 4 months later, somebody knocked at my door. I happened to be her again. I didn't still recognize her.
Wow.
She smiled again, and that smile, which I didn't forget, made me say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know you." So she came in and we sat down, and that was when we actually chatted. And I said, "Look, I've told you, you're a beautiful man, but I don't like cheating." And therefore, at a point in time, I tried to touch her and she cautioned me. And that was when she told me
Please,
that, huh?
please, Mr. Anyanjo, I want
Brief.
to hold that side. I don't want it to get there quickly. Mr. Anyanjo, please tell us twice after the wedding. You know what he said now? He said you noticed him. He didn't even notice you. There is something about you, man. You knew what you wanted.
Yes.
We have few women that would know what they want and go for it. In your case, it's like this is the man, this is the kind of man I want to marry. And you were not just waiting or praying and say, "God, let this man have courage to look at my side. Let him," you actually went after him the following day. Oh my God, you are very brave, honestly. And going there the following day, he told you, "I have girlfriend, I'm not ready now, maybe later." You checked on him 3 4 months later. That is really awesome. The story is just different from all the stories we've been hearing. So now, Mr. Anyanjo, please, you can go on, because I'm just thinking we have few women who are bold to do this.
Yeah, yeah. When she came back the next time, and I tried to touch her like a man will, and she cautioned me and told me, "I'm not here for that. Uh, I've not met a man before in my life. I've not been with a man, not met a man." She actually told me she was a virgin. That shocked me. And she said she's not coming here to break that vow she had taken for herself, and that if anything, that would be the man that will marry her. And she wants us to be friends, and I must not touch her. There were no touching, there were no kisses, there were no sex.
Wow.
And for 2 years, I kept that promise. I promised her that I was not going to touch her. But she continued to come. I continued to go to her house, but we never kissed.
You became friends.
We have become friends, yeah. Until that day, I decided, yes, it was my time. That was 2 years later, in 1992. She came to my house that day, and I told her, "Look, I want to marry you." And she said,
Wow.
"Yes." There was no story. I don't went straight away and say, "Look, I want to marry you." Say yes. And from that point, we arranged my brothers and we went to see her father. The first battle started. The father said, "No, get away from me. You are not going to marry my daughter." I said, "No, I'm going to marry her." And the father rejected me. And for months, 3, 4, about 6 months, I was still going to say, "I want to marry you. I want to marry your daughter." At the point in time, the father said, cautioned and said, "If you don't stop that man from coming here, I'm going to disown you." That was the father's threat. Yes.
The father threatened her.
Threatened to disown her.
Wow.
If she keep bringing me here, but she said no.
But you were good. You were good looking, sir. What happened?
I don't
Maybe
know.
she should tell us. Let her tell us why the father objected marrying you.
Hmm.
Okay.
Mr. Anyanjo, tell us what happened.
No, Mr. Anyanjo.
Anyway,
Yes.
what happened? He has said the starting point of it all. Like we met in the wedding. The lady, the bride, was my cousin, so I was her chief bridesmaid, and I saw him. Like I said when we were chatting last night, I married him at the right time for me to get married. So when I saw him, before then, I've decided the kind of man I would want to marry. One of the reasons was that I didn't want to marry a businessman. I said I wouldn't want to marry a businessman. And then when I saw him, the first thing that was struck to my mind was that I hope this man is not a businessman, but he doesn't look like one. I wanted to marry a working class man. Anyway, so later I asked my sister, my cousin, and she said, "Oh, he's a banker." I said, okay, that's number one. Then I made a visit, and then subsequently he started coming to my house, introduced himself that he's gonna marry me. My dad declined.
Wow.
Declined. Why? Because in our own culture, in my father's own family, as at that time, the ladies, our ladies marry around our town. They don't give out their daughters away from the town. So my dad declined seriously and started telling me stories of his sisters, his nieces and all that have married outside our town and the dangers they encountered and all that. And my husband kept coming, and my father warned me seriously that I must stop this man from coming to this house or else. Anyway, I told my husband, stop coming. We just have to watch and pray and see what happens. Because one of the things I learned growing up was that it doesn't really go well when you go against the parents' instruction not to marry a man. And I was very much afraid of that. So I didn't want to go against my daddy's warnings and instructions.
But I was still coming when you told me to stop coming.
Yeah. He was still coming, but I was hiding.
Wow.
At some point, I told him to stop completely. We continued praying because by the grace of God, I have met God. I've met the Lord before I met my husband. So I told him we need to start praying. And I think this is a good friend, a co-worker who was also in the Lord, a charismatic member, Brother Matthias by name. So we started praying together until, as God will have it, my daddy's mind was changed. He agreed and he welcomed. Really, he welcomed my husband with his whole heart. The love my dad had for me, he transferred it automatically to my husband. Up to the very time my dad passed on, he never stayed a day talking to me without asking for his in-law. And the kind of welcoming, the kind of entertainment my dad gave to my husband's people, the first time they came to our house, up till now, they are still using it to joke to me that the food that they had they have never had it in their in-laws place before.
Wow.
You know, it was really nice when my father welcomed them. He welcomed them in and out and without his heart, and he was happy. He remained happy with my husband until he passed on.
I love your story. I love your story. You went for what you wanted. And discussing with you before this show, you told me that you saw it all growing up.
Yeah. Growing up, I was growing up. I was brought up in a public yard in what we used to call in Lagos, face me, I face you, in the typical Lagos life compound
Environment.
where there was all different kinds of couples, you know. Those the wives were working and were making the money. Those the husband was working and making the money. There was all sorts of life there, and in fact, that made me, even from my own parents, that made me to decide the kind of man I would want to marry and how I would want to build my home with my husband. That made me also to decide that before I will get married, I will have to have my career. I will have to have a career. I will have to start doing something before before I will get married. And before I will get married, I will have to hold myself. I will have to remain a virgin. I will have to be who I am until I have found the right man.
Right man. Wow.
And in fact, I said my yardstick to know the man that is, because those days, what was the talk of the town was, what was raining was that if a man comes to you and say he will marry you, the next thing he will require is your down below, your privacy. I said, okay, if I had the challenges on that area, maybe because I have made myself, I have decided how I want to live my life, and that was like a big challenge. So at that point in time, I said, now, God, this is me. Any man that comes to me and says he will marry me, and I will tell him that I'm not going to have it with you in bed until we are married. If that man sticks to this, I will, no matter what the man, whether he has penny or he doesn't have anything, I will stick to him. I will get married to him. So it happened that when I met my husband, he made some advances, and I told him that this is me. I'm a virgin. I'm not ready to break my virginity until I'm married to you or whoever I will get married to. If you're happy with that, we will continue. If you're not happy with that, this is me. You will not see me here again. But I made him to write something like undertaking.
Underwriting.
Yes, he wrote
I
something.
like
that. Anyway, so that was how we continued. We meet, we talk, we chat, generally live, but we never get to that point of touching or kissing or anything.
That's testimony.
You'll be very surprised to know he maintained that. He maintained it. He maintained it for 2 years, for 2 good years. We met in, we saw ourselves in October 1990 in that wedding. From that 1990, 91, 92, he came to our house. Nothing happened. 93, he came officially. We went to the village. He did something. We got married. Everything traditionally and everything.
And then he now have you fully.
Yes.
Up till now. Glory be to God. I just wish many singles that are watching now, or even parents who are watching with their teenage children or youth, will learn from your story. You know, the Bible has told us in Hebrews 13:4, marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed not defiled. So I don't understand why the singles struggle with this. Look at you, a woman of dignity. You knew the Lord, and you kept yourself, and the man agreed. You know, men, even those who are men who are out there sleeping around, they know the good ones. they are ready to wait. Can you imagine? Mr. Longi, you waited for 2 years. Did you give your life to Christ within that, as soon as you saw her and she told you, did you give your life to Christ immediately?
He gave his life from the time we wedded.
From the time we wedded.
We were meant to have a charismatic wedding.
Okay.
Yes, that was when he gave his life.
Yeah, I was just a disciplined man.
Being good, a good man.
Good man.
Yeah, very loyal. Wonderful. So now let's move on to when you got married. Eventually, every marriage initially would have one thing or the other, to adjust to being, getting married to a new person from different background. So I know yours is also going to be similar, because though you are Igbos, both of you, but there are some things coming together now as husband and wife that you will face. I don't know whether you can remember any of those challenges you faced early in your marriage and how you dealt with it. Maybe some people listening to us can benefit from that.
The first challenges we faced was, being a banker. Then I could say I have a little bit of money. I'm earning more than some of my relations. And then at the point in time came when they decided that, yeah, they have to run my family, my immediate brothers and sisters, and they decided that they have to tell my wife what to do. I said, at the point in time actually came when we had to, they made a meeting against my wife in my absence. And then when I get to know about it, when my wife was troubling me and there was fire in my house, so I got angry and went to my brother. I told him off. I said, why should you come to my house and put fire? While you are in your house, enjoy, you have your family. I'll never come to tell you how to run your family. You don't tell me how to run my family. And I see that he had to come and apologize to my wife, which he did after a lot of quarrels and this thing. And then from that moment, one of them kept away from my family. And then the most important thing in family is not that there will be no challenges. The most important is that you decide what you want. I decide to leave my family, work with my family, work with my wife. Then any other person that comes in is a third party. And that is one of the challenges, any challenges we had. And that's how I overcome it. I think she can have something to say about that.
Okay, so the first challenge you faced, if I understand, is family interference.
Yes.
They came into, like, they wanted to tell you or dictate to you how to run your home,
Family, exactly.
which you didn't agree to. And what you've done is biblical, because a man will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and one shall become, they become two shall become one flesh. So you've actually done the will of God by, facing your wife and show love to your family, but let them know that there is boundary, there is limits now. I am for my wife, and you defend your wife, and that is what you should have done. So that was the first challenge. What would you say to that, Mrs. Veronica?
Yeah. He played the right part I expected him to play, because if he had not done that, maybe that would have ruined the marriage. Because the worst thing a woman will face is when the in-laws are against you, the only one you have is your husband. If your husband is by you, if your husband supports you, if your husband is not against you, that marriage will survive. You will be able to stand your feet. You'll be able, and the in-laws will know that they cannot penetrate, they cannot interfere in that marriage, which was exactly what happened. It happened. They really planned the first time. It happened in Lagos. My husband did not give them chance. They said, "Oh, okay." They failed there. They will plan another one in the villa. We traveled to the village. They planned a bigger one with bigger relations involved. And then they did not inform my husband. That was where they said they talked until up to the extent of handing his life to me. As you can see, my husband is not, maybe I have got a big body more than him. He said, and then my husband was fasting too much. When my husband gave himself to Christ, he embraced Christ with all himself and everything. He used to fast so much even then than now. So that fasting made him, he was a bit skinny. So my in-laws were like, oh,
Maybe you didn't look after him.
I'm cooking and eating alone. I'm not taking
That
after
you are around. You are around.
And they were like, then they said to their brother, whatever thing that happens is in my hand. I say, wow, to that extent. And they never told my husband what they were planning or what they were going to tell me. Okay. And they never allowed me to talk. How can you be killing somebody without allowing that person to talk? You know, they did all they did. They said all they said. I got up from that moment. My husband didn't know. The next thing I told him, this is village. This is your village. I am leaving. My parents are not in the village. I am going to Lagos. Nothing is stopping me.
Wow.
He was like, what is going on? What is going on?
I believe they love their brothers so much.
Oh, they love their brothers. So. But you cannot, I mean, they love their brother, but you cannot say you love your brother and
leave the wife. Yeah,
no,
exactly.
It's not possible. It's not possible. So if
well,
you want
I'm sure they love you now. They've everybody have
She's number one now.
Anyway, so that was what
happened in the family now.
That was
what happened in the family, yeah.
That was what happened. Anyway, so my husband intervened, and then my dad, I really had to tell my dad because it had to do with life. Putting the life of my husband into my hand is not as light as they will see it. So I had to call my dad. My dad said, no, that is not allowed. That is not, you had to come in. So, but anyway, my husband spoke to his brother. His brother apologized, and then everything ended like that. And I think that was the only time, the one and the last time, I would say, the last time they intervened.
That happened. Okay.
Yeah, that was the last time.
Do you remember another challenge you faced early in marriage? Because when we were discussing, you mentioned something about finance.
That was this is in-laws interference. Yes. But the challenges we had as couple, as individuals in the family, in our family, in our immediate family, it's more of finance. It's more of finance. The first 3 years of our marriage, the first 3-4 years of our marriage was not always, it was not easy. Like I said, he was a banker in a nice one-bedroom apartment, one-room house. We started there. Money was problem, was an issue. Finance was an issue. It was hard. It was hard.
Because you had your children immediately after marriage.
We had our children. We had our children.
Yeah, because when you say money is an issue, a banker, people would expect a banker to have money.
A banker and a nurse. A banker and a nurse.
Both of you were professionals.
Yes.
But you had your children immediately.
We had our children immediately.
Yes.
Within 3 years. Within 3 years, we had 3 children.
Wow. So that explains why money was an issue.
Actually
explain why. Okay. So
but the people outside, they did not know it. They were still thinking that we had the money, even though we were having the children. We still have the money. They thought that we were pretending, which was one of the problems. But we managed ourselves. We never had a joint account. Right from Nigeria, he was having his account, I was having my account, but we still know how to use our money together. Where he hasn't got, he will take from me. Where he was the head of the, he is still the head of, he is the head of the family. He was carrying everything, the rent, everything. Then he used to call my salary peanut salary.
Oh.
The point was
he was doing everything, but when he is in difficulty, he needs some little help. I will also help. So he doesn't look at my money, even up till now. He doesn't look at my money.
That's really fantastic, Mr. Anyanjo. You are wonderful. You don't look at our money.
I know.
You allow us to do. In fact, you moved so fast. That area I wanted to come to later, but she brought it up. So tell me.
No, but the important thing in family is that whatever you're doing, you put your family as one. Like she said, we married in one bedroom, one room apartment.
Wow.
What you call her a best seat. I think that's what it is called, something like that. And then because my family was number one for me, I knew we were not comfortable in one room. As soon as I'm able to afford it, we went into self-contained room and a parlor. And then as soon as I'm also making
more money,
I moved into a 3-bedroom flat. So, and that flat we entered became uncomfortable. So I had to move them to another flat. So one thing important for me is that my family must be comfortable. And whatever any other person saying from outside doesn't make any sense to me as long as my family is comfortable. So I know I didn't have all the money in the world, but my children attended the best school around then. They attended one of the best schools around then. We lived in a decent flat where people of our grade is living. One thing happened when I bought my first car.
Okay.
I just went and brought the car home, and she said, "No, we can't use the car." I said, "No, I will use the car." And for about 2 months, we were still fighting whether we're going to use the car or not. I said,
"Why?"
Because people want to show up.
Because people start saying, "Oh, we have got the money and we're buying car." We say we don't have money. We're buying car. We say we don't have money.
He actually went to my best friend in the church then, or in the charismatics, and said, "Look, I don't like this car. My brother, my husband bought." I said, "This car is for you. You have to use it." She said no. So my friend had to come and speak to her and say, "Look, if God had brought this car, don't want to buy this car, then we have to use it." That was when she calmed down. And I made sure that car was for the family, and like she feared.
Because she had many children already, so why won't she drive?
I said, what she feared actually happened. My senior brother came to me and said, "Look, you cannot have a car when I have not needed a car." I said, "If you want to go and buy your own car, this is my car." So my wife saw beyond, but I was a young man.
She was trying to avoid trouble.
Yes.
She didn't want, the family to be attacked in any way.
So, but I stood my ground and said, "This is my family, and this is what is best for my family. That's what I'm doing," and that has carried us on. Put your family first in everything you do, whether you are friends, families, or family comes first. If you do that, you will ever succeed.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'm enjoying your story. Okay, Mrs. Veronica, let's talk to us.
Another thing that helped us during that first 3-4 years of difficulty was I told my husband, we decided that whatever difficulty we are finding among in our family, between us, we must not let it out. We must not tell it to either his own people or my own people. We must find a way of sorting our problems out, resolving it between ourselves. We decided that instead of speaking to his people or my people, if we can find a reliable brother or sister in the Lord, we will rather speak to them than speaking to our immediate, our own people. And that really helped us. Whether we are eating, we are starving, whatever that is happening, nobody knows. All you can know is what you can see or what you can feel.
So you learn to resolve differences between both of you without
speaking out. Yes. Even like we are saying, we had our children within 3 years. You can imagine it wasn't easy. I was working, he was working, I was having children every time I'll be pregnant, I was carrying a baby. It wasn't easy. there was a lot of frictions among us, house help issues coming and going and all that, but we were able to do it. We were able to manage within ourselves any pregnancies and things like that. My mother was late, far away, far long before I got married. So it was just between my husband. My husband was my husband, he was my friend, he was my mother, he was everything. We were just doing it together. We were just doing it together.
As a good man.
As a good man.
Yes, a good man. Mr. Anyanjo is a good man. You know, when we met, we are colleagues, and when it's the first time he drove 4 hours to drop you at work, when he said, I took my wife to work, I'm like, there is a tube, there is train, there is the. He said, no, I drive my wife to work. And he said it, and he has been doing that for years. It takes a committed, a family man, someone who really, really loved the wife to do that, because it's a long drive and there are other means of you getting to work. But he wants you to be comfortable, and we really, really celebrate him for that. As you can't even stop him. There was a day I called as well. My wife is sleeping, and the way he was even talking, he didn't want to talk loud. He didn't want to wake you up. He want, you know, I like
once I wake up, I will sleep again.
You won't sleep again. It made me realize I don't want my wife to wake up. If she wakes up now, she won't be able to sleep. That is really gentle of you. Well done, sir. And you've been together.
One thing is important in family and marriage. If you decide, you have to decide what you want in your family. If you decide to keep your marriage and your family, you do everything to keep it.
To make it work.
If you allow people to decide for you,
that's where you have problems.
That's a problem for you. If you decide other things to money, while to decide for you, you are in problem. But if you decide that what going up and down, like we always say, in sickness and in health, in good and in bad.
Yeah.
If you decide to keep your family, if you decide that, you are going to do everything to keep it. Whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable, you do it.
So those gestures, that you do, people make jest of you sometimes. What is big deal? Why are you doing all that? And that didn't change you, sir. You maintain the way you treat your wife.
Let me tell you something. Men, generally, whether Oyibo, whether black, when you meet your girlfriend, you do everything for them. You even, if they cost you, they say yes, sir.
So why can't you do it for your wife?
Why can't you do that for your wife?
Please tell them.
You want to keep her.
Say it loud.
If you want to keep your wife, if you want to keep your girlfriend, you do everything for them. So why not do it for your wife and keep her?
No, they thought they've already kept the wife. The wife is already kept. Maybe that's why they stopped.
I would say maintain her. So you keeping your wife means maintaining her. In this, you have her, but you need to keep her by doing these things and making sure she's happy, she's comfortable, and the same thing she'll be doing for you. That's family.
Wow, I love that. Sir, how did you cope? 5 children. Growing up, I can't just take my mind off that.
It wasn't easy.
Tell us how you did.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. It's still a bit.
Did you decide you wanted 5 children from the onset? Did you both decide?
No, we were. I would say we were looking for a baby girl. For me particularly.
Okay.
From my first pregnancy, I was expecting that I would have a baby girl. So I had the first one. It was a boy. I said, thank God. I had the second one. It was a boy.
Because a boy in Igbo land is something. Is like a must. So when that one came, you said, okay, settled.
Yes.
I can sit properly in this home now.
And then the third one came. The second one was a boy. The third one, and then
I told you something. Say, don't try again. I'm not going to have a baby girl. She said, I'm lying.
And then my mates started talking. One of them said, "Oh, Longinus' wife. They thought that she's educated. Now she has started having children, like a village, you know, a lot of stuff, you know.
People would say,
we know what we wanted. We are there. You know, God, when God is doing his things, there is nothing, there's no way you can stop him. For me, that's part of the things I learned growing up. And as a Catholic, charismatic Catholic, I didn't want to go for contraception. And my husband was in support of that. We never for a day used any barrier. We never for a day used any contraception. We just trusted God. We just believed God. And it happened the way it happened. And
you would have had more than, then you would have had more than 5 then.
Well, God did it the way he did it anyway.
No, but
wow.
I stopped.
God said,
okay, so you now minded yourself. After you minded yourself, and
after the first 4, we said, people said, oh, because we are not giving gap, that's why we are having the same sex, and we should give a gap of at least 2-3 years, then we can have a different sex. Anyway, we gave a gap of, God still planned it, we gave a gap of 3 years before my last son, and then I still had the last son. You need to see what happened in the hospital the day I had my last son. Because I had my children in the hospitals where I used to work. So that day I was on duty and I fell into labor, and everybody was like, oh, sister is in labor, sister is going to have a baby girl.
Everybody's expectant.
Everybody was
waiting for baby girl.
Everybody was waiting for a baby girl. And I had this, my son, my last son, between the hours of the morning nurses going home and the late nurses coming in. And everybody was like, oh, sister is in labor room. Sister will soon have a baby girl. And then, lo and behold, baby came out. And then the doctor looked at the baby boy. The nurse.
You didn't do the scan before to know the sex?
No, I don't. Then the nurse came in, what did sister have? The doctor told the nurse, sister has had what she normally has again. And look at the quietness. Everybody, the quietness in that hospital, in that place, I never saw it before. It wasn't as if I had a baby. It was just like something abnormal had happened.
Because they were expecting a girl.
Everybody was just, everybody just went up. What can I do? I got up. My husband came.
But you can never be tired of having a boy. If it were the other way around, maybe it would have been a big
well, that's what people were telling me then.
So we need to just thank God, because we don't make babies. Is whatever God.
I thank God. I bless God. It was
in the search of a baby girl, stretch it to have 5.
Have 5 boys, yes.
Wow.
And so, I said, no, God, thank you.
I want to know at this point how you decided to come to Europe. And when you came here, was it easy for you to settle?
Let me start that question. Before I met my wife, she's been trying to travel abroad.
Okay.
And then after we married and things became better, she was still on this traveling abroad. I didn't want to travel abroad. I say I'm comfortable here. But my wife was never happy until she always wanted to travel abroad, because her sister and the brothers are all abroad. She said, but we're here. She refused. And therefore I said, okay, whatever makes you happy, we'll give it a try. So for about 4 to 5 times, she went to embassy and refused visa. And then this last one, I told her, look, this is the last time. I called my brethren and we prayed. We did, I think, 4 or 5 days fasting and prayer. I said, if we pray and we went to embassy and they refused you visa, that is it. We're not going to talk about it again. Because then things have started looking up for us. We are comfortable. We had 2 cars. I bought car for her, even though she doesn't drive. But we're okay. So after we prayed that vigil, the next morning she went to embassy. They were actually apologizing to her for having refused her visa for such a long time.
Wow.
They gave her 5 years, right? about
the student visa.
Student visa. I gave her a student visa, and then she traveled in 2004, and 2006. Then later,
1 year
we came
and 6
to join
months.
her. I think that's the journey.
Yeah.
Wow. So
And,
now, you've got all your 5 children back home before you
Yeah.
came in. So raising them here, can you tell us the difference? Because this show is for us to learn. So boys, you must be strong. So
Okay.
so what was the difference raising them back home and coming to this country? And if you can remember any story or anything that happened, incident that can make people, especially those who are 5 boys like you, or even 3. I remember I have a member a member of our church in Italy. She has 2 boys. Every time we meet, she's like, "Oh, what can I do? What can I do?" So I'm sure she will be watching now. Give us some tips. Let us hear from.
Our toast, our wedding toast is ours is different. Our wedding toast. I want you to remember that
ours is different.
Yes. And to be honest with you, if I start saying it, people might not believe, but ours is different in every aspect of life, of our marriage, of our union, and of our everything. Like I said, I had my children like that. We never had barriers. We never had contraception of any kind. People might not believe it. And when it happened, it happens. And when it stopped, it stopped without nothing.
Wow.
Even at some point, again, I was saying, okay, maybe I will try and see if I can have
They won't believe anyway. So that those who are listening to me too will not want to follow, somebody I want to follow Mr. Anyanjo.
So when I say ours is different, ours is different. And then these boys, when I was having them every year. There was no much sickness. There was no, when a child gets another new baby,
maybe that will be jealous.
They will be feeling very unwell and very feverish and things like that. But that wasn't the case. The Lord did it in His own way. And then these boys, I had 1, I had 2, I had 3. My sisters in the Lord will come to our house and they will say, Sister Anyanjo, do you say you have only boys in this house? Why is it that your house, there's no noise, there's no scattering of everything and anything? There was nothing like that. They don't fight, they don't make noise, and by the grace of God, the school they were attending, that school runs from 7:30 to 6 p.m. They do have siesta. They run from 7:30 to 4 o'clock. They have a nap between they have a nap between 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. They sleep, and then 4 o'clock they wake up, they do lessons. From that 4 o'clock to 6 p.m. Then we pick them up. And coming home, have a shower, have a bath, have a shower, do your homework, and then that is it. Saturday, the same, we just do homework. There's no how we can come to my house and know that I have got only boys. Wow. The house is in order.
That's how they grew up.
Yes, they are growing up. Nothing. The issue I was even having was my house help. We know house help in Nigeria. If you are lucky, you will get a good one. If you are not lucky, you keep on changing them. Like I had that problem. They were coming, they were going, but still, these boys were as calm and as well behaved as ever.
As calm as their dad.
Yes, as calm as their dad. My first boy was 12 years when he came over here. In fact, he had his first birthday, December, they came over here. Because they came, I think, December 4th, 2005. December 2005. The first 4 boys came December 2005, about 4th of December, 5th of December. So he had his 12th birthday here. So the second one had his 11th birthday here. 11 years was March.
That's a long time. So they are all British.
So that's why you see them, they are very young and tender when they came. I would say I had problem bringing them up here than in Nigeria.
Wow.
You see what I mean? And my problem.
So what are your experience here? Can you just give us
experience
in
here
2
was
minutes?
that when they go out, you know, and we used to live in an area that was just white people. I'm sorry
White
to use
community.
that word, white community.
Dominantly white.
Yeah, we used to be the only black family in that area. And then my sons will run out, they will run around with their bike. I will not see them. I will send them message. They would not go. They would drive around with their bike and things like that. And then when they come in, because I know that smoking, like I was seeing small children smoking on the way, teenagers and things like that. So when my boys come in, I will open your mouth. He will open his mouth. I will smell their mouth. I will smell their mouth. You know what I mean? What am I smelling? They have smoked. So that was what I was doing. Once they go out, either from school or anywhere, open your mouth, I smell the breath, I smell the mouth. And one of these days, I smelled the breath of my younger boy, my last son, and he was smelling cigarette. Hey, my fourth son went out, and then that was the first time he tried alcohol. I think he was 15 or 16 then. And then he tried alcohol, and then he was a kind of drunk. His friends brought him to the house. Instead of knocking on our door, he knocked on the neighbor's door. The neighbors opened the door and brought him and knocked for us and brought him in. Hey, I was like, tonight, not tonight. You drunk, got drunk. So you didn't recognize the home. We recognize our own door. I started again. Go, this, that. Anyway, after that, he cautioned himself, and that stopped. Bringing children up here in England is quite different and a bit more difficult from Nigeria back home. At least back home, when you speak to them, when you caution them, they will listen, they will hear you, they will know
and families, relatives,
and families also. They will, I can remember those days. My little sister was living with me. She misbehaves. I was sent for my brother who will come and teach her some senses, you know.
Let me help you a bit. The most important tool to bring children up here is prayers.
Prayers.
You need to pray, you need to pray, you need to pray. Because whatever you do at home and they go out, you are not going to what they do outside. I will give you example of that with my last boy. I have 3 graduates now, and then the last one is in the university studying law, but it didn't come very easy because at the point in our life in the UK, my boy decided he wasn't going to be in the house again when he was 16.
Please tell us this story. Thank you very much.
Yeah, when he turned 16, he decided he wasn't going to continue school, wasn't going to live in the house. He actually came home one day and said, "Daddy, I want you to write the letter for me so the council can give me a house." I said, "My house." Yes.
He wanted his own house.
He wanted me to say, "I don't want him in the house."
So that I can get the room or something. Wow.
I said, "No, I'm not going to do that." While we're doing that, we're praying and asking God. My son was sleeping on the street. In the Greenwich, my son was sleeping on the street.
That was a challenge. Wow.
For weeks.
On the marriage.
Yeah. My son was sleeping. My son would come home. He would pick up my contactless card and go away. I wouldn't even know that my card is missing until 2, 3, 4 days ago. All I see is that has been touching my eating to eat. This continued for how many? For such a long time. We're praying.
For 1, 2 years.
We're praying and asking God to help. Then we planned to take him back to Nigeria and put him in the boarding school. We found a school. We planned all this, but how do we take him back to Nigeria?
How do we inform him?
How do we inform him? We pray and ask God to help us. One day, it happened to my wife's brother was sick, and he's been sick for some time. My wife was planning to travel home and see him. So as all were praying and praying, my son came back home one day and I saw the mother crying because of the brother. I said, what's going on? He said, my brother is sick and I want to travel to Nigeria and see him. The miracle happened. My son himself said, I'm going to travel with you.
Wow.
Remember,
you didn't know you were setting a trap.
We have go to the school, we have planned everything, we have actually paid. My wife, and I prayed, because of our prayer, my son came back home and said, we was going to travel with you to Nigeria. And the cost of, we say, okay, we got our papers together and we said it happened that the Nigerian passport was expired. And then we say, look, your passport is expired, we need to go and renew it. After we finished talking with him, I thought he has come back home. Before we know it, he's left again. After some days, we told him, look, we need to renew your passport. He said, when we should book it, we will tell him when we are going. We booked it and told him. He came back home that day and went with us. Wow. After we came back home, he left again.
He left. Wow.
Come again. So we continue to pray.
It really God that made him to actually prepare Nigeria.
Because the day we were travel, he came back the day before and traveled with us. And that was how he spent 2 years in Nigeria.
And he did well, because I know the story. He did well in his school in Nigeria. Now back here studying law. That's a success story. Wow. We thank God for that, what God has done for your family. And I just pray for many families that are actually facing similar challenges now in terms of, raising children, that the Lord will teach them what to do. Every family is unique. And as you have said, yours is different. God will tell them what to do. Yours, God told you to take the child back home, to go to school, and you could see the hand of God in taking that child back home. So it might not be the same way, but if you talk to God about your child and the situation, the Lord will definitely show you the way out. And yours also will be a success story in Jesus' name. Wonderful. It's already almost 1 hour, but as we wrap up now, honestly, I want Mrs. Veronica to tell us. They say African men are not romantic. Is it true in your own case? Because you can't tell me that this man is not, but I want you to say it yourself.
Okay. If somebody says that African men are not romantic, I would say it's a lie. I wouldn't say my husband is not romantic. He is.
That's why I want to, because I see that it's opposite of what I hear every time. So I want you to ground yours. Your husband is always saying a lot of.
My husband is romantic. I would rather say that it's me that is not very, very romantic like himself. Yeah. My husband is quite romantic. He's quite, like he said earlier, he can be a playboy, but playboy around me, not around
every playboy is around you.
Around me, within me, not outside. So he is romantic. He is loving. He is caring.
Don't tell me that.
Well, I tell you at times. I tell you at times.
So now, can you use the opportunity in 1 minute? Look at his face and just tell him how much you appreciate him.
You know that I do. You know that I appreciate him.
You told me.
And with a kiss, because I think yes.
You are caring. You are romantic.
Wow, that's lovely. Lovely. Well, thank you very much. I want Mrs. Anyanjo to still advise women out there, the wives. I want you to talk to them. I like the way you knew what you wanted and you went for it. With wisdom, you were able to some people, even when they take that step, they were taking it for the man, maybe to hold the man down by allowing the man to sleep with them. You didn't do that. You got close to him and you let him know that if you can wait, I won't give myself to you. And he waited. I want you to advise ladies out there who wants to just, show that they're desperate, or they need to, maybe if I'm pregnant for the man will marry me. No, talk to them.
Ladies, what I would say, like I had already said, is in the issue of marriage, finding your love, the love of your life. You don't really get so desperate that you have to sell yourself or have to sell your dignity. No matter how desperate you were or you are, you must maintain your dignity. You must hold yourself because that dignity, that privacy, that's all you have in you. That's the respect you have. And then most men will cherish you a lot, will honor that if they see that you yourself cherish that in you. If you yourself values that, they will help you to respect that value in you, and they will help you to support you and all that. So all I will tell you is hold yourself, and I'm advising our young daughters, hold yourself. Yes, you want to get married, but at the same time, don't let loose. Don't be so loose to men, because if they will even if you get so loose to men, they will not give you the respect. They will not give you the regard.
And
They will not.
might not end up in marriage as well.
And that is it. It is always good to maintain your dignity and your self-respect and dealing with men, especially from that onset, from that particular time, because as they say, first impression matters and goes a long way. Another advice I would tell a couple generally, it takes two to tango. In the bringing of the children, husband and wife must agree. When your husband is saying, Emeka, don't do this, you as the mother stand with your husband and say, Emeka, listen to your dad, don't do that.
You shouldn't be divided.
Yes, if you find yourself divided in giving the instruction, the children goes on it and they will misbehave. If the wife says, Emeka, don't do this, the husband must stand by the wife and say, Emeka, listen to your mom, don't do that. Husband and wife must be one in bringing up the children. They must pray together. They must stick together. The family that prays together stays together. So they must really do this together. It is very, very important.
Thank you very much, man. Time is fast spent. Mr. Anyanjo, I call him Mr. Longinus. Anything you want to say to the men out there?
Decide what you want and work towards it. There's nothing outside that you cannot get inside your home. You can make your wife what you want her to be, and don't kill yourself trying to control your wife. Actually, if you love your wife and you will actually take absolute control of her with love than with strength, power, and all. Yes, no. Love will give you absolute control of your woman, and you get what you want. Love my wife.
I know, it's obvious. Thank you very much. This has been a wonderful show. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming, Mr. and Mrs. Anyanjo. We really love your unique love story. That your story is unique, and we really love it. And I know that my viewers, many people have actually learned. They've picked a lot from today's interview, and we say that your marriage will continue to grow stronger and stronger in Jesus' name. And those five men, I pray that by the time they are going to marry, they will marry well in the name of Jesus, and they will choose the wives they are going to come home with. Their wife will be your friend, ma. Your daughters, they will be your daughters because you wanted daughter, and now you're going to have 5 daughters, and I'm sure they will have grandchildren as well. So I thank God for your marriage. I thank God for your life. And Mr. Anyanjo, continue to be the good man, caring and loving man that you are. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, viewers, for being with us on this journey today. Mr. and Mrs. Longinus Anyanjo, very wonderful family. Look at the story, very unique. 5 men. And look at the story they shared last, how the devil wanted to, take advantage and cheat their last born, and see how the Lord helped them to turn that story to a success story. We just need to be prayerful and be sensitive to hear God's instruction concerning our home. Thank you very much. I know we've been blessed. And next week, I'm coming again with another wonderful couple who are ready, happy, and pleased to share their unique love story. Thank you. This is Kemi Onadipe. See you next week.